Hi guys, welcome back to the Shannon Show. Hello if you're new. So today's video is going to be a review of the Eddy, which will be dropping on Netflix on May the 8th. Feel free to comment down below your thoughts on my commentary. I'm always up for a chat, I'm always up for a debate, and if you like this video, give it a like, and if you didn't like it, give it a dislike. No hard feelings. So let's get into the review. So face value, I'm not gonna lie, based on the description, this probably wouldn't be a series that would be my first choice to watch if I wasn't watching to review. But I thought, okay, it could be interesting. The director of LaLa Land, Damien Chazelle, is involved. I actually haven't watched LaLa Land yet, so I don't really have that to compare it to. But there was a few names that I noticed that I was like, okay, they've got, these people in it, so maybe it might be decent. Andre Holland, noticed him from Moonlight, and Amanda Stenberg, who, universally known as Rue from Hunger Games. Shout out to all my Hunger Games stans. So I saw them in it. I was like, okay, maybe I should give it a chance, Then I saw the trailer, and the trailer looked boring. It wasn't very promising, and I was just like, even more like, But I was still like, okay, let me give it a chance. So in terms of what this film is about, it is about this American guy called Elliot who has had a miserable life. His wife has divorced him, so he's decided to go to Paris and start up a jazz club. But the jazz club is struggling, and his partner ends up getting in some dodgy business to try and keep the club afloat. And that dodgy business comes back to bite them. And Elliot spends most of the film trying to resolve this issue. And as well as that, there's a lot of side storylines, namely his troubled and difficult teenage daughter comes on the scene, Julie. And we also get a little backstory from the other people involved in the club as well. But in terms of the narrative, I think the trailer tells you all you need to know. If you saw the trailer and you thought it was boring, when you watch it, you're probably going to find it boring as well. It was a snooze fest for me. I really struggled to get through it, and especially since the hours are like a solid hour and a solid hour long, like not like an hour, but it's really 40 minutes. Like it's an hour, 10 minutes, and then it's an hour. And there is stuff going on in this season. There's a lot of drama. Like I said, there's family drama, there's drama with the club, and there's some action, but overall it was just very boring. So boring. And the thing is, I couldn't say that it was flat or anything, because there was an atmosphere that was built, and on paper the story is interesting, but I don't know, I just couldn't engage with it. I couldn't get into it. It was just boring to me. And I think a lot of people are going to find it boring, and I think a lot of people are going to switch off. Even people who are one of those people who say, I'm going to commit to a series once I start to watch it, because it is just so long and dragged out. I don't understand why it is so. I don't think the amount that it was dragged out was necessary. Like there were some parts where it was just like, what am I actually watching here, and why have we spent 10 minutes watching this? Like there was this one scene where there was a certain ritual going on, and I was just like, why are we watching this for 10 minutes? Why are we doing this? You're not selling this show to me. For review purposes, I do watch it all the way through, because sometimes you never really know, in terms of episodes one, half the time they're a bit boring. Episode 2 was boring. I thought, okay, maybe halfway it might pick up. But, episode 8, I was still bored. And I did background noise it. I'm not going to lie, I did background noise it. But even as background noise, it didn't really give me anything. And I really don't know what I can pin it down to, because I'm not sure if it was the direction or the narrative or the acting. I really don't know what I could pin it down to, but I was just bored throughout most of it. In terms of the jazz, I mean, what tops it off is that the jazz was pretty mediocre for the most part. I was just kind of thinking, no disrespect to the person who plays the lead singer in this series, but they definitely could have chosen a better jazz singer. It was very soulless. There was not much soul there. It felt very musical theatre. You know, if you go to a jazz night at a pub or a gastro pub, yeah, that's the kind of jazz that it was giving me. It wasn't giving me real jazz. So I was just like, who is this going to be for? And you know, I love jazz music. I'm not the biggest jazz enthusiast, but I do like jazz music. So for me, as somebody who likes jazz music, I was underwhelmed by the jazz content. The band was okay, but I think the singer didn't really sell it to me, and I was just kind of just like, I struggled to believe that this was the best singer that they could find. Again, no disrespect to the person who plays the singer, she had a great voice, but I wouldn't necessarily say it was, you know, true jazz. And you know, when people were saying, oh my gosh, she's so good in the film, I was just like, where? Where? You know, and you know, people doing the jazz nod, like, you know, I'm really feeling it. I was just like, where? You know, it definitely did not touch my soul. But yeah, I'd be interested to hear from people who have watched it or people who watched the trailer, because you hear her singing in the trailer. What did you think of the jazz? Do you feel like it did justice to jazz as a genre? Were you a bit confused? Do let me know. So I'm not really sure who the audience is going to be for this. Maybe people who like LaLa Land, if this is similar to LaLa Land, will like it, but I don't know. I think younger audience members are going to switch off. People who are not interested in jazz are probably going to switch off. I think most people are going to switch off, to be honest. I think objectively people are going to find this boring. I think there definitely could be an audience for it, but I think objectively a lot of people are going to find it boring. It was way too long, even for people who like to commit to Netflix shows. I think people are going to quit at least halfway. They might give it 5 hours, but they will quit after 5 hours because it literally does not pick up in tone for me personally. In terms of the characters, I think overall performances were solid. I couldn't really fault the performances except for one, and that is going to be Amanda Stenberg's performance. She's meant to be playing this complex, difficult child, and she did not sell it to me. And I think in terms of a difficult teenager, I don't think that is a difficult character to sell, but somehow it was difficult for her to. And I think maybe what went wrong is not necessarily her, but the direction. They wanted to make this complex teenage character for a show that is clearly for adults without trying to be over the top. But I think that's where they went wrong, because what we got was a really mediocre performance that was one note anyway. So I think they should have just went with the stereotypical bratty, difficult child. I think that probably would have worked a lot better and maybe have brought some life to the series, because it was a bit bland. Yeah, what did you guys think of Amanda Stenberg's performance? Did she sell the complex, difficult child that is really good at heart to you? Or did you just kind of feel like it was a little bit bland? One thing I have to note with the characters is that there wasn't really much character development going on. Despite the series being so long, there really wasn't much character development. We got backstories from all of them, but again, it was all very brief, and I feel like it's quite criminal to have such a long series and have a lack of character development. And maybe that was a contributing factor to me not really being able to connect with the characters. I didn't care about any of them. I didn't care about any of the conflicts in the film. I didn't care about any of the emotional moments of the film. Yeah, I just didn't care. But on a more positive note, I did like the cinematography. There were some great shots in there, and I feel like the look was very Parisian. It definitely captured the environment well. I feel like the score was decent, definitely could have been better. I think there was this one sound that we just kept hearing, this I don't know I don't know if that was even a good impression, but a horn sound, a horn instrumental we hear a lot. I would have liked a bit more of a developed score, considering it's about a jazz club. It was solid, Production design was pretty good. Camera move was really good. Like I said, it captured the environment well. It captured the club environment well. There were parts where you did kind of feel involved in the jazz performances when it became a bit more immersive. So I'll give them props for that. The costume was pretty good. Like I said, particularly a younger audience, this is going to be a snooze fest. My experience watching this was that I was going through these episodes, getting more and more disappointed and just hoping it was going to get better, but it just didn't get better. And my disappointment grew with the hours that I was wasting of my life on this series. It was way too long. Like, it was disrespectfully like, they weren't really offering us much for the hours they were expecting us to invest in this series. So I predict that a lot of people are going to find this boring. I predict that there is going to be low investment. In terms of recommendations, I probably wouldn't prioritize it. I'd say watch episode 1. If you like it, continue. If you didn't like it, switch off, because it's not going to get any better. Like I said, I'm not really sure who it's for because I haven't watched LaLa Land to compare it to. But if you feel like we have the same brains and you trust my judgment, I'd say skip it, watch something else. So yeah, but to be honest, I wasn't expecting it to be amazing. I was expecting something along the lines of, you know, a solid 3 out of 5. But I feel like taking everything into consideration, I think even though I found it boring, I could still appreciate some of the storytelling on some level. That I think there is going to be people that are going to appreciate this series. So I can give it a 2.5 in terms of taking absolutely everything into account. I'd give it a 2.5 out of 5. It is only just about a 2.5. It is very close to a 2 out of 5. But yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, do let me know if this is something that you were or are looking to watch. Were you on the fence about it? Were you kind of just looking for reviews to see if you should take the dive? And if you have watched it, do let me know how far you got. Did you go all of the way? Did you kind of quit after a few episodes? Do let me know how you got on with this film. And, you know, let me know if you liked the film, if you didn't, if you found it okay, did you find it boring, or did you find it engaging? I'd be really interested to hear from people who actually enjoyed the series and share what you got out of the experience. But yeah, that's the end of my review. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and if you have, don't forget to press that notification bell so you know when the next review is dropping. Till next time, guys, bye.